Researcher Alexandra Sasha LATYPOVA exposed the United States Department of Defense (DoD) as the main player in the weaponization of the Wuhan coronavirus vaccines, saying that it is in direct collusion with Big Pharma in faking clinical trials. Sasha LATYPOVA is a Ukrainian-born entrepreneur living in the United States. Most of her professional career was in the pharma healthcare industry, with specific focus on development, validation, regulatory acceptance, and commercialization of new clinical technologies and biomaker. Sasha LATYPOVA is a Ukrainian-born entrepreneur living in the United States. Most of her professional career was in the pharma healthcare industry, with specific focus on development, validation, regulatory acceptance, and commercialization of new clinical technology and biomakers. Sasha LATYPOVA built 2 businesses in pharma over 20 years, supporting companies like Pfizer and J&J in running clinical trials. She told host Maria Z during the recent episode of Maria Z Uncensored that, quote-unquote, "I have seen 400 contracts for everything: vaccines, monoclonal antibodies, the mass, even swab tests, staffing, logistics, and everything related to COVID-19. The researcher said that the DoD and the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, BARDA, give different grants and contracts for the development of this kind of things. So these contracts are all in with DoD and BARDA, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services. They actually merge into the same organization and report to the executive branch of the government." She also pointed out that the Defense Department launched Operation Warp Speed, which was explicitly the chief operating officer of the whole organization. Quote-unquote, "There's a layer of U.S. government that designs, develops, manufactures, and tests these products, the vaccines, but is under the oversight of the DoD. But the legal structure is that when then HHS Secretary Alex Azar decides whether they are effective, they can be released on the market," she said. Quote-unquote, added to that, under the Trump administration, Azar was the person who pulled the trigger. LATYPOVA, who heads the investigative group, Team Enigma, noted that the emergency use authorization adopted in 1997 and amended in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2013, and 2017 enables the HHS Secretary to use EUA-covered medical countermeasures, which doesn't constitute a clinical investigation of trials, meaning the official public health regulator, Food and Drug Administration, does not actually play a role in the drug trials. The Enigma team leader said that, quote-unquote, "FDA has been acting and playing a theater and pretending to be a regulator, and that's the fraud that has been committed on all of us." The team also uncovered how substandard and unsanitary the vaccine factories are. LATYPOVA cited the existence of a redacted FDA audit form 483 that indicated deviations from the standard operating procedures, which her team obtained via Freedom of Information Act request. The form noted that one vaccine factory is not maintained and not of suitable size, design, and location to facilitate cleaning, maintenance, and proper operation. Moreover, the auditors wrote that procedures to prevent cross-contamination were not executed in the facility's manufacturing protocol. Brooke Jackson was working as the director of the operations for a multi-state site management organization and was in charge of supervising the testing of SARS-CoV-2, as well as Abbott's RT-PCR technologies and the early phase trials of remdesivir at the start of the pandemic. In September 2020, she became the Benta Villa Research Group Regional Director. Her task was to oversee the conduct of Pfizer's Phase 3 COVID-19 mRNA vaccine trial at several locations in Texas. Jackson said on her website that, quote-unquote, "In the 20 years that I have been involved in clinical research, I have never seen a study conducted by an investigative site, managed by a contractor, or overseen by a pharmaceutical sponsor that scared me. Until then, what I documented and reported to my former employer and to Pfizer during an internal audit was dangerous and violated federal law. I felt that I had a responsibility to make sure that the participants were protected and the fraudulent data being collected in the study was not used in any safety and efficacy analysis." Within hours after reporting the irregularities to the FDA, Jackson was fired. She has since sued by Pfizer. LATYPOVA said that Jackson was under the impression she was participating in a clinical trial and was supposed to monitor it and report to FDA when the violations happened. In reality, she was participating in the theatrical performance. She also pointed out how legislation that goes back to President Abraham Lincoln during the war times when the government was being sold defective products can be a basis for Jackson's case. The said law was designed to protect the government from false claims. LATYPOVA also noted that recently Pfizer filed a motion to dismiss, citing one of the contracts with the DoD, and their premise was that they are not making false claim. In the motion to dismiss, Pfizer said, quote-unquote, under this contract, our scope of work is a demonstration of large-scale manufacturing. Z lamented that the DoD may have already told Big Pharma how to get away with this as well. I am Lovely Montoya of Manila STV.